I can't lie to you, Chibits. After this volume of Vagabond, Sasaki Kojiro, I'm enjoying him a lot more than Musashi Miyamoto. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying Musashi is a bad character. I love Musashi. He's a really cool MC of Vagabond. But there's just something about Sasaki Kojiro's charm as a character without dialogue that really just sets him apart from other characters I have seen from this series. And I truly respect that. I really respect the writing that was placed into this volume without dialogue. And it's something you don't normally see in manga, where you can understand a character without dialogue. It's rare to do, and it's very hard to accomplish from a writer's perspective with just artwork, telling a story with artwork. And that is exactly what Vagabond did in this volume. And it did it in the last volume, but mainly in this volume. It really shined, I have to say. It was fucking beautiful with what I saw. And I think the arc I just finished is my favorite arc. It is my favorite arc thus far because of the introduction of Sasaki Kojiro's character and what type of importance he's going to have on this series. I really, really hope Sasaki Kojiro doesn't get thrown to the back burner. I really hope he becomes a reoccurring character that constantly shows up in the future of this series. Because I like Musashi. I like, Musashi Miyamoto. He's a good character. I like, what he's done and what he's trying to accomplish and, becoming a better swordsman and a better person. I love him a lot. He's a really good character. But I just hope that the mangaka of this series takes the time to also focus volumes on Sasaki Kojiro. Now, I understand, these past two volumes have actually kind of focused on nothing but Kojiro, and, Musashi's been thrown to the back burner, but I hope, we get more volumes like this, like, in the future. I'm probably next volume is going to be about, Musashi, but I just hope there's equal screen time or panel time for Sasaki and Musashi. I really hope they each get equal time throughout this entire series, because after the volume I just read, beautiful, beautiful writing. Such charming characters. I mean, there's characters in this volume that really stand out, like Jisai, Itosai, Sasaki Kojiro. There's such characters in this volume that really just stand out and you really can come to love while reading this volume. And I really respect what the mangaka did of just taking the time to flesh out these characters with a lack of dialogue. It's a rare accomplishment I have to really compliment, because it's rare to see how a mangaka can just mix in art just to tell a beautiful tale with a character and just have face expressions like it is shown in this volume to really let us know what is going on. It felt like I was actually watching an anime when I was reading this volume, and that is rare in of itself, to actually feel like you're watching an anime when you read a volume. The panel work, I almost messed up there, the panel work of Vagabond is just breathtaking. The way it can go from scene to scene and really just give you a great depiction of what is going on through the events, like the battle and going on through the volume. Like, the entire focus of this volume of Vagabond focuses on Kojiro fighting his opponents. Just going straight in and beating the shit out of different opponents throughout this entire volume and learning to become a better swordsman. Like, what he accomplished in this volume was, oh my god, like, it's beautiful. Like, that's the only thing that comes to mind when I look at this, because the beauty in the fighting that was done, not just, specifically the fight, I'm talking about the meaning behind the fighting of this volume. When you see how Kojiro comes to terms with fear, how to have honor, respect, even battles, I mean, all these different key points of a real fight, a samurai fight, or a sword battle, he learns in this volume, and it's so good. It's so good. I cannot express that enough. I heavily emphasize how good it was in this volume. When you see him, like, fight opponents, I mean, he doesn't cut them down. He just puts a sword, like, right next to him. He can't speak, as we know. Like, he can't really speak, and he can't hear, and so he talks through his sword. That's exactly what Sasaki Kojiro does. He talks through his sword, and when he looks at opponents, if they don't go fully into where they want to die, like if they don't put their life on the line when they draw their sword, then they're not worth fighting. That's how Sasaki Kojiro fights. And also, he fights with a different atmosphere than normal swordsmen, because at times he knows fear but doesn't know fear, and he also smiles while he's in battle, exactly like Musashi, and it makes him a very devastating opponent, because this is a kid, this is a person that can't hear things, and he may know fear, but he doesn't really fear it as much, and he, as a person that's fought people throughout his coming of age years, he knows what a strong opponent is and what he needs to look for, especially when he fought the different samurai that asked him to fight in this volume. When he crushed them and he just, disarmed them, they're like, I surrender. It just shows you his skill level and how he is different from other samurais. I love that. God, man, I cannot believe how good this volume was. I will say this volume is close to perfection. Like, that I know. That's rare for me to fucking say. Like, nothing's perfect. Nothing is fucking perfect. But this is close to perfection when it comes to a character. Introducing a character with this arc. Oh my god. Close. Almost close to perfection. It really is. One thing, though, about this, okay? G-Side. From what I can understand from this volume, I'm assuming it wasn't specifically told that this is where the beauty of the panel work of Vagabond comes into play. You see a panel where Sasaki, he goes on his journey and he's, becoming a swordsman. And you see how Jisai talks, he's looking at the different, words he wrote for Sasaki Kojiro in the past. And then all of a sudden, as you see it, you see him start to fade. Like, he looks like he's, see-through, he's like a spirit, and you see the ocean behind him, and the ocean kind of represents where Sasaki Kojiro came from, and that's the last panel of him in this volume. So, it makes me assume that he died. It makes me feel like Jisai died in this volume, and if he did die, best old man of the series. I don't think there's going to be any old man later on down the road of Vagabond that's going to be as good as Jisai. What he represented in this volume and the last volume was best father of 2015 I have seen. Like, I know Vagabond hasn't came out this year, but in the terms of what I have seen from this year of manga or anime, no sarcasm. I'm not throwing sarcasm in at all. But Jisai, best father of 2015. Like, seriously, if I make, like, the 12 days of anime and I decide to do something with, like, best father of 2015 or best mother, Jisai is definitely going to be one of the contenders of this year. Because what I witnessed, he was a respectable man. The way he raised Sasaki, the way he raised him through his early years, and the way he treated him like his own son, and how he lived his life, and then also at the end, he realizes, like, the meaning behind his life. He realized he's happy that he trained Kojiro to be what he was. Like, all his life, he lived regrets. And at the end of his life, he's happy that, at the very least, he made someone like Sasaki Kojiro that is that strong. It's very sad, very heart-touching, and it really hits me right in the fucking feels, because, I mean, this poor man, his entire life, until the very end, he regretted the sword. He regretted living his life at the sword, and now seeing at the end of his life, right when he reaches the final steps, he sees that. Man, dude. It's sad, dude. I actually want to fucking cry, because I'm going to miss Jisai. He inspirational character. Like, personally, if I had to admit, I like Jisai even better than Sasaki Kojiro. I really do. I like Jisai way more than any other character in the series, just because of what he truly means to the growth of Kojiro. Like, if I like Kojiro, of course I need to like the character that raised him, for instance, Jisai. And that's, yeah. Just the growth of Sasaki also in this volume, seeing how he showed great skill with his eyesight. Like, in this volume, I noticed, it wasn't actually specifically explained, like, it wasn't shown or wasn't talked about, but I noticed it as a reader, and it scared the fuck out of me. It scared the fuck out of me, not in terms of just, Sasaki Kojiro, but what he did, or what I witnessed in this volume. He had, like, some form of after image when he was fighting people in this. Like, in the panel work, you see how Sasaki Kojiro has, like, after images where he has a sword, and when you see another sword pop up. And I've heard about this in actual sword fights. I've heard about this, like, there's legends and different myths and stuff about this, like, when swordsmen clash, they can see after images and stuff like that. And I've also seen this in the Fate series. I've heard stuff about it. I don't know if it's specifically true or not. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. I'm not a swordsman. But if it is some form of truth or whatever, that level of skill to be able to do something like that is just scary as fuck. It really is. See, he has this aura about him with just him being on a panel. Like, I felt Sasaki Kojiro's aura without even, being there. Like, I know it's just literature, it's just a manga, but I felt the aura of just his bloodlust and how he acted in the panels. The last time I felt something like this that really impacted me through the artwork and the way the characters looked was Berserk. That's the last time I saw a volume do something like this to me. I remember in Berserk, the panel work is just, it's crazy in Berserk, and it really gets you going, especially with how it can get so emotional and drag you in with so many different things and feel despair. And that's kind of what this volume of Vagabond did, and I'm starting to witness, like, how the mangaka is really starting to put in all this different emotion into these different panels that really just drag you in and do not let go. It just strangles you and continues to make you go and further into the series. And I'm happy about that. I'm so happy. Best damn volume I have reviewed of Vagabond. As you could see, I'm practically fanboying on Sasaki Kojiro right now. Like, that's what this volume is about, though. Let's face it. Like, this entire volume is just showcasing the upbringing of Sasaki. So I think it's very appropriate why I've spent, so much time on talking about him. And we also going to find out that Sasaki Kojiro met Musashi. Yeah, we found he met him in the past. Yeah. I was shocked when I found that out in this volume. So Sasaki and Musashi met each other. And they battled alongside of each other. Two beasts. Like, they're straight up beasts. Like, that's how they were depicted. And, I mean, the way they were smiling in combat while they cut people down. Very creepy, very edgy, and just, like, it really just creeps you out how these people can be like that in the middle of battle. It's just like, my god. It's really cool, though, how that was done in this volume. That was a great treat to see how Musashi met Sasaki, because I heard that Musashi and Sasaki are like rivals. They're mortal enemies. I've heard that they're going to have some form of duel. I've heard it somewhere in the past, and it makes me happy, because these two characters, the way they've been brought up and with how they've been trained, I'm looking forward to seeing who is going to come on top. I really am looking forward to that, because if these two are rivals, the final battle between those two are going to be fucking epic. It's going to be damn epic, because I got to see these two fight. I really got to see Musashi and Sasaki go at each other. I really got to, because the way they both are when they fight is something to behold. Like, they have their own different styles about them, but they also are similar in a lot of different ways, because, as we know, Musashi, he's been raised because of the forest, the wilderness. He's like a beast. And we know that Sasaki, he kind of was raised the exact same way. He learned on his own, but also he learned by constantly fighting his master. Unwillingly, of course, but he fought his master. And so what you can get from that is his upbringing is slightly similar to Musashi. It's going to be cool, though. It's going to be fucking cool to see when these two finally go at each other, because I really don't know who's going to win. Like, whoever is going to win that fight, it's just going to be incredible. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's going to be sad if they did have a fight, life or death fight. I'd be sad if either one died, because I like Musashi and I like Sasaki. They're both great characters. And seeing their swordsmanship, I don't even know who the fuck would win. But, I mean, after witnessing what I saw Sasaki do, it seems like he might have an advantage over Musashi. Especially seeing how he used, like, some form of after images in the fights he did. Along with, his increased eyesight, since he no longer has, hearing. All his attention's on his eyesight. So he's able to see blade swings a lot better than the normal average swordsman. And that also actually plays a huge role in a lot of things if we think about it. You remember the main famous line in Vagabond that has happened since the first volume? I brought it up quite a few times already. If you look at the leaf, you'll miss the branch. If you look at the branch, you'll miss the entire tree. And if you look at the tree, you'll miss the entire forest. I find that very ironic how that was said. And then we have a character like Sasaki that just uses eyesight. And he has great, incredible eyesight. I find that very ironic how the mangaka did that with Sasaki, and did that to where, you know, that type of line kind of goes along and correlates with Sasaki Kojiro. I wonder how that's going to be in the future. I really do. So, the ending conclusion of the volume, though, getting into some of the other things, Sasaki Kojiro is on a pilgrimage, pretty much. He's traveling to become a better swordsman. That's what he's pretty much doing. He's kind of doing the exact same thing Musashi's doing. Like, he's doing the exact same thing. Of course, a little bit different, because, as we know, Sasaki, he can't speak. He's carrying around, like, invincible under the heavens. Instead of under the sun, it's under the heavens. He's carrying the sun around, trying to attract people to fight him, which is working, by the way. But he's not doing it in the exact same way as Musashi, because Musashi's going to different dojos and different places across the entire nation and challenging the top leaders to get a good name, make a name for himself. But the way Sasaki's going about it, he's already made himself quite famous, because he's just holding his banner, walking around beating the shit out of people, and then they spread his name throughout the entire villages, which is kind of a smart move. People already know about Sasaki Kojiro. One thing I have to admit, though, like, Tenki or Tenka or whatever, I forget the exact name, it starts with 10. The dude that's carrying the letter for Sasaki, and we do know in, like, volume 2 or 3, VizBig volume, we know he got kind of killed and Matahachi took his scroll. Is the dude really dead? Like, is that guy really dead? If he is, that means, like, what's gonna happen when Matahachi encounters the real Sasaki Kojiro? Matahachi's gonna get his shit knocked in, like, I thought Matahachi was going to be like, you know, Sasaki. I thought he was. But after witnessing these two volumes, Matahachi, he's just been slung to the back burner. Like, what type of role does Matahachi have to play now in the series, now that I've seen the real Sasaki Kojiro? Like, what role does he have to play? Is he going to still try to fake Sasaki Kojiro's name? Or is he going to fall into the distance of a character that we no longer care about? I'm just very curious about Matahachi's role now, actually, thinking about it after these past two volumes. Now, in terms of some of the artwork, I actually want to point out some of the artwork. Like, look at this, okay? This is where the after images take place. Look at that. You see the hands? That looks like fucking after images. It looks incredible. It really does. Very beautiful, beautiful artwork of Vagabond. It really is. But, like, you cannot deny some of these color pages, too. It looks so damn amazing. It looks so damn amazing, these color pages. Oh. I'm so glad I started this series. I'm so glad I started Vagabond, because there's so much meaning in this volume. So much damn meaning. I mean, him learning about his honor, fear, how to, you know, fight fairly. I mean, just, damn. I'm glad I picked this series up. It's been a great, great ride so far, and I expect many great things in the future of Vagabond. So yeah, how do you all feel about this volume of Vagabond? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? How do you feel about Sasaki? Do you think Sasaki's better than Musashi? Do you like Musashi better than Sasaki? Let me know. What's your favorite out of the characters? I mean, let me know in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.